So is that okay? What time is it? Because there's nothing after this. So yeah.
No breakfast?
There is breakfast, but there's no madrasah. There's no madrasah after this. Usually we finish content. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah. Rabbi sholli sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Alhamdulillah, praise to Allah that still giving us the health and umur that we still given the chance to attend our weekly class, and Alhamdulillah, we still given the nikmat of iman that we are still able to come as well. Salawat and salam we say to our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and we try to follow his example, and hopefully we will get a safar from him in the day of judgment. Amin. Alhamdulillah, our Sheikh Mahmud is already here with us. Inshallah, what would be our last lecture for the 2017 before we go to break? So, and I can see the number of people, maybe some of the people already gone on holiday. So, but inshallah, for those who come here, inshallah, we give our attention, and inshallah, we will get a benefit from the talk of Sheikh Mahmud. Before going, without further ado, I would let the Sheikh Mahmud to start, inshallah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على رسولنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ومن تبعه بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. سبحانك لا فهم لنا إلا ما فهمتنا إنك أنت الجواد الكريم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي وأفوض أمري إلى الله إن الله بصير بالعباد. اللهم صل صلاة كاملة وسلم سلاما تاما على سيدنا محمد الذي تنحل به العقد وتنفرج به الكرب وتقضى به الحوائج وتنال به الرغائب وحسن الخواتم ويستسقى الغمام بوجهه الكريم وعلى آله وصحبه في كل لمحة ونفس بعدد كل معلوم لك. اللهم إنا نسألك الهدى والتقى والعفاف والغنى. اللهم إنا نسألك العفو والعافية والمعافاة الدائمة في الدين والدنيا والآخرة. توفنا مسلما والحقنا بالصالحين. اللهم إنا نسألك علما نافعا وقلبا خاشعا ولسانا ذاكرا وشاكرا وتوبة نصوحا. اللهم إنا نعوذ بك من علم لا ينفع وقلب لا يخشع ودعاء لا يسمع وعمل لا يرفع ونفس لا تشبع. رب زدني علما وفهما والحقنا بالصالحين. رب يسر ولا تعسر. رب تمم بالخير. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. أما بعد، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. My respected brothers and very respected sisters, once again, thank you so much for coming this morning. We will continue with our lecture, with our talk, the series of talks on the source, the greatest source of evil in Islam. Source of evil in Islam, there are three, as you know. One was Nafs al-Ammara. The second is Shaitan alayhi la'na. and the third is jahala, ignorance. So along this particular theme, we started our journey of getting to know each other, getting to know ourselves, our nafs al-ammara. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commands us, tells us, Inna nafsa la'ammaratun bisu. Nafs constantly incites a person to disobey Allah, constantly do haram things, constantly do whatever it wants, but no obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Unless you know this nafs al-ammara, and it is possible to transmute, it is possible to change this nafs al-ammara, and nafs al-ammara is nothing more than the negative aspect that was developed once the ruh was put into the body of the human. It is the negative side. It is not actually an entity, but it is part of the identity of nafs, of ruh, our spirit, our soul. And يَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الروح, as they say, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, they question you, they ask you of what is ruh. Ruh is nothing, it's an entity that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created under the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What is given to us about ruh, the actual ruh itself, is very little knowledge. Only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows. It is, we say, it is the rider of this particular avatar. But this rider has also some negative qualities, negative attributes that was developed while we begin to exist in this world. And these are called sometimes shahawat. These are called sometimes the loves, the lusts of the nafs. The first one was shahwatul batan. In our design, the first thing that we have is the love of lust for food, stomach. As a baby, nothing works except food. We only want food. We're not interested in money. We're not interested in a position and power. We're not interested in accumulation of wealth. Look at the children. They're angels. They're only interested in food, nourishment. The second level, as soon as they hit the age of puberty, shahwat al-farj, desire for the opposite gender, desire for sex. That comes in. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala already codified in our genes. That comes in. And we discover the opposite gender. Before that, it's all yucky. Everything is yuck. But after that, the best thing in the world. And after some time, through marriage, inshallah ta'ala, the third level kicks in. Hubbu jam'i mal. Love of accumulation of wealth. And with all, we justify our actions, and we constantly seek to make more money, increase our standard of living, earning power, so that we can satisfy our nafs more. And fourth is hubbu jah, love of recognition. Love of recognition, where we want people to recognize, acknowledge that we have achieved something in life, and we are rich. We've got PhD holders. We are lecturers. We are academics. We're accomplished people. We want people to know. That's not good enough. The fifth level kicks in. That is hubbur riyasa. We want to be in charge of everything. We want everybody to stop what they're doing. We want adulation, praise. Praise is not good enough. We want people to love us. Love is not good enough, never enough. Then we want people to worship us. Leadership. And once you are in that position, you hold power, the red button, you are rich and powerful, you can do anything you want, you become a tyrant. Absolutely. Islam acknowledges this. This is the developmental stages of Nafs al-Ammara. Islam acknowledges this, and Islam tries to tame this particular beast within, who is only interested in satisfying its own needs. We went through this journey, and Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam informed us, أَعْدَى عَدُوُّكَ الَّتِي أعدى عدوك, your nafs, regard your nafs as your greatest enemy. التي بين جنبيك. That the position where it resides is beneath your collar. That is under your collar. Who's under your collar? Myself, me, who I am. This I am is your greatest enemy. So we had a journey. We went through how evil the nafs is, how trickster she is. I'm using the word pronoun she because in Islamic spiritual psychology, nafs is a female and ruh is a male. So we have double genders. So once the nafs is completely purified, heart is purified from all the evil traits of nafsul ammara, of her, she becomes a he. Ruh is male. So we said this nafs al-ammara, the animal self, the tyrannical self, this nafsul ammara, generally operates outside our conscious awareness. We don't know it's there. If you say to a non-Muslim, you got a nafs, he says, what? Even to the Muslims of today, they said, what? I have a nafs? No. What's nafs? It is the, it seems to speak with our own language, our own voice, to express our own innermost desires. So we rarely resist this particular being within us. Smooth operator. It's within us, constantly speaks. It is a skilled ruler who rarely has to rely on a naked force, will never force you to do anything, but it has all the skill set. When you're hungry, what does he do? He says, man, eat. You're hungry, starving. Get a kebab. Yeah, get some curry. Oh, eat this. You're going to die. If you're tired, what does it say to you? It's on your side, under your skin. You're tired. You've got work tomorrow. Come on, you need to go to sleep. Your body needs rest. Sleep. Beautiful. And when it comes to waking up for Fajr, because it's always negative, it says, don't wake up. Don't worry. Allah is Ghafur Rahim. Yeah, you don't have to pray. That's how it works. Yeah? When he wants the opposite gender, may Allah help him or her. Subhanallah, until he gets what he wants, he's so moody, he's so angry, constantly, full of greed, full of lust, full of anger. It's all in there. It's in there. We don't see it from outside. It's in outside our conscious awareness at the subconscious level. If the authority of this ruler is taken for granted, there is little possibility of revolt because he seems to be operating. It's our operating system. There is no need to revolt against this. Therefore, we let it go. And seems to be on our sides at all times. So this is the trick. Nafsul Ammara dominates us without our knowing it. And to the extent this is true, we don't even try to counter its influence. Therefore, the thought of revolt never arises in our hearts. This is why so many people operate for much of their lives, their entire lives, under the domination of Nafsul Ammara without even knowing anything about it. How do we know this? Remember those levels of 5? Shahwat al-Batan, Shahwat al-Farj, Hubbu Jamimal, Hubbu Jah, and Hubbu Riyasa. You see, the elderly man, he's stuck in the first one. He cannot control it. He's still at the age of 70, 80 chasing girls. We call them dirty old men. His packaging is completely gone because he's got money. Yes? And the other girl on the other side, she's got greed for money. When you combine his lust with the money, no problem, your packaging is okay. constantly they don't. Some people gluttony, disease of eating so much, constant. They live to eat. Nafsul ammara, they cannot control. Eat, 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 constantly. So we don't know. Some people eat. What's wrong with him, man? He eats like. And what's wrong with him? He's married. He's got children. He's got grandchildren, and he's still chasing, looking at females when they walk. This is how Nafsul Ammara works at a level that completely outside our conscious level. Controlling the Nafsul Ammara, alhamdulillah, is the stage where we left, I think, last time. Our ulama, our shuyukh, our teachers, the doctors of this particular field, they tell us that Nafsul Ammara should never be destroyed. You can never destroy it. If you destroy it, that means you committed suicide. It's haram. But you can transmute, you can change through process of tarbiyah and tazkiyah, and this nafs becomes under your control, under your aql, under your heart, under the control of the ruh. One is, they both operate at the same time, but ruh is dormant when this is operating. Nafs is operating. Ruh is dormant, can't do anything. It keeps on telling you, but falls on deaf ear. But Nafsul Ammara, whatever it wants, it commands and it gets. When you are under the influence of Nafsul Ammara in such manner, you are in Nafsul Ammara state. But as you go through the different levels of nafs, Nafsul Lawama, Mulhima, Mutma'inna, Radiya, Mardiya, and Safiya, the process changes. The ruh becomes dominant and nafs becomes dormant. But you never kill. You change, you transmute the negative qualities into positive. So the rubbish from your household, you put in new furniture, new attributes, the ones that you never had. When, however, in the parlance, in the language of tasawwuf, when some people say that person has killed his nafs, mashallah, it doesn't mean that he went and murdered himself. It means he is under control, he is controlled completely, he's controlling his nafs, his desires. Then all the evil attributes, negative attributes of nafs is no longer in charge. Is it all possible to transmute our negative, blameworthy attributes at all? Is it possible to tame Nafs al-Ammara? Change ourselves? How can we control ourselves, our nafs, escape from this stage of tyrannical nafs? Is there a method? Definitely. That's what Islam came here for. إنما بعثت لأتمم مكارم الأخلاق, says Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. When you have this khuluq, khalq is outer, khuluq is inner. Your outer image, nafs loves. Khalq. Allahumma ahsanta khalqi. When you look in the mirror, what do I do? Do you read? Oh Allah, you have made my outer so beautiful, so handsome. Please also beautify my khuluqi. Khuluqi is the inner image. This inner image is the one that nafs controls. The other one, also nafs controls for people. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala looks at this khuluq. Khuluq is the internalized values. How Quran entered into our hearts, then becomes akhlaq, your beautiful character. If shaitanic teachings enter into your heart, or you are under the influence of nafsul ammara, Nafsul Ammara, your khuluq stinks. Your attitude stinks. Your behavior stinks. From outside, you put all the best possible aftershaves and perfumes and best hijab and everything else, seamless, perfect, like a model. But inside, you're walking rubbish, disgusting. When you sit at the feet of the ulama, when you first come, they sometimes hold their noses because your inner stink is so disgusting that they could hardly look at your face. But you learn tahara like najasa. From najasa, the istinja, you learn how to wash and how to cleanse yourself. The process is possible, but it has to be done properly. And all the diseases of nafsul ammara, which we will go through, inshallah ta'ala, they're all not visible. They are in the khuluq, in the heart. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said to us, I came to perfect good character. In other words, I will show to you how to be a proper human being who is not under the control of nafsul ammara. Akhlaq is the manifestation of that inner beauty, that purified nafs, cleansed heart, inner outer actions. That's what akhlaq is. When we say, mashallah, that person has, his akhlaq is so sweet, we want to be with him. It's not how he speaks, how he talks, how she is, but the personality. Personality is the way you have internalized the teachings of the deen. Once you have controlled the nafs al-ammara, then it is easy to control. Yes, it is possible to change one trait at a time. You can't do it at the same time. But ulama also tell us that everybody has the starting nodes for each of these diseases within them. Some of them are small, some of them are grown so much. Some people are born with little stinginess. Some people are born with a lot of stinginess. When the parents say the children are like the fingers of the hand, none of them are the same, they're all different. Meaning, oh, my first child was an angel, never gets angry, always, soft and gentle. The last one, Ya Allah, if you don't give him what he wants, he starts screaming and shouting. In other words, the ghadab, one of the attributes of nafsul ammara, is more dominant in his character because he was born with a bigger node inside. So you don't fix a person who's not suffering from greed, for example. He's already, mashallah, rich, is wealthy of the heart, generous of the heart, but you work on the ghadab of the person. They call it anger management in modern psychology. Yes? Why would you manage a person's anger if he doesn't have anger? Doesn't work. Bukhul, miserliness, into sakhawa, generosity. Ghadab, anger, into hilm. We love the name so much, we say Halima, Hilmi. We use these virtues of positive qualities, and yet the person is full of anger. Doesn't work by naming something outwardly. Is not. We give the names to our children so that they say a person becomes like the person that they've been named. Musamma. If your name is Zahid, it is hoped that you develop the concept of zuhd within your heart, detachment of it in your heart. If you are what? Halim or Halima, that you also become gentle, clement, not angry, full of ghadab. Kareem, Abdul Kareem, so that you become generous, not bakhil, not stingy. One theoretical possible way to purify the nafsul ammara, purify the heart, is through the practice of zuhd. detachment. Zuhd, detaching your heart from materialism, worldliness. You live in it, you enjoy it, you use it, utilize it, but you don't worship it. Nafsul Ammara wants to worship, own everything, and just a little kid, intense desire to accumulate more. If you're born with a silver spoon in your mouth, yes, enjoy it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you. But if you haven't got it, if you constantly hanker after that particular thing, that's greed. Islam develops this particular quality, attribute called zuhd. We name our children Zahid. Detach your heart from the hubbud dunya, love of this dunya. The opposite of zuhd is hubbud dunya, love of this dunya. And the reason for love of this dunya is tulul amal, long-term desires. I will talk about this later. The reason for tulul amal is because of one of the main attributes of nafsul ammara called ghafla, that we will inshallah talk about this shortly. Not easy to become a zahid, develop this detachment. You need to work on it for years. You become austere. You need to just say, no, I don't want any. Almost impossible. Second method is dhikrullah. You constantly give a steroid into your heart, spiritual heart. In other words, the ruh, you feed the ruh with dhikr. The dominant sleeping in slumber ruh wakes up. Once it wakes up, it begins to insert over the intellect, aql, decision-making process. And the nafs becomes the, the cheeky boy who's constantly crying, I want it, I want it, I want it. But your aql is now dominated by the ruh, and doesn't listen to your nafs at all. It says, you be quiet. You be quiet. Everything has a consequence in life. If you have this, it's haram. If you have this, it's halal. But you can't have too much of halal, you become lazy. Or if you do this, there is a day of judgment. You begin to utilize. If you don't get up for Fajr, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to burn you in Jahannam. You constantly talk. But before that, the smooth operator was saying, oh, you're tired, you're going to go to work. You see, if you break your sleep now, it's going to be, you can't sleep afterwards. Don't worry, Allah is Ghafoor Rahim, you'll make qada. Two different teachings. How do you get to this stage? How do you wake this particular controller, the sound one? But through dhikrullah. Quran is, what is it called Quran? Al-dhikr. Yes? Recitation of Quran on regular basis. And learning the meaning. Trying to see what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to you also. Regarded as dhikr. And also awakens your heart. Awakens your heart. Another tool, method for controlling the tyrannical nafs is to make bay'ah and then be in the khidmah to a qualified true murshid al-mukammil or Sheikh Kamil, a person who is a doctor in the field, but with a difference. When you go to a physical doctor that looks after your body, what do they do to you? They give you prescription. You've got leukemia, for example. May Allah forbid. May Allah give you long life. And they say, oh, medicine for this. How would this doctor ever understand if they never had leukemia themselves and recovered from this? They will never understand what you're going through. But can you imagine you go to a doctor, you have cancer in your lungs, and you went to a doctor who had cancer of the lung and completely recovered, is healthy as an athlete. And would you listen to him? Or would you listen to the one who just talks about the lung and diseases of the lung? the one who went through this process and cured himself and became a doctor in the field to cure everybody else, is called Murshid al-Mukammil. A sheikh, true sheikh. Like Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, what was he saying? إِنَّمَا بُعِثْتُ لِأُتَمِّمَ مَكَارِمَ الْأَخْلَاقِ وَإِنَّكَ لَعَلَى خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ. In other words, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created this being, Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, rahmatullahi alameen, in Arabic language. Ala. Ala means above, according to, not you are created upon a, what do you call, a perfect character. Your character is above the sublime character. This is Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He's the ultimate in this regard. So he is showing us his function. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam yuzakihim, to purify them, to teach them with wisdom, with hikmah, Quran and Sunnah, how to purify their inner, the animal self, and they can come to this particular level. Function of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the one who has no blemish in his character, because Allah forgave all of his past and future sins completely, who has Nafsul Kamila, the ultimate. Yes, when he says something to you to purify your nafs in this regard, don't do this, do this, do this, don't do this, you take it into your heart. That's why he was able to that purify the hearts of 200,000 of his companions at his time and the generations until our time. If the sheikh is such person who went through the same process, who is Sharia compliant in every sense of the word, who follows the Quran and Sunnah, who follows the Sharia to the letter, and who went through Islamic spiritual psychology, the process of cleansing the heart, the soul, from the evils, the negative attributes of Nafsul Ammara, when he speaks, the words will have impact on you. Otherwise, one man was smoking 4 packets of cigarettes a day. He goes to the doctor. Doctor says, don't smoke, no good, you're going to get cancer. He says, how many are you smoking? He tells him 2 packets. No, he tells him, Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad, 6 packets. He says, okay, reduce it to 4. And after that, they go outside and smoke together. They talked about the dangers of lung cancer, everything else, but the same doctor who gives his advice is smoking himself. What kind of an impact the words of that doctor could ever have on that patient? Nothing. Similarly, when our ulama, not the academic scholars, not the fuqaha, not the shuyukh, the people who have training in this field of Islamic spiritual psychology and the tasawwuf, they call them mashayikh. We don't use the word mashayikh to the people who are only trained in the worldly sciences of Islamic sciences. But the ones who are qualified, who have completely purified their nafs and have the ability to purify you, these are called the mashayikh. The other one's called shuyukh. Plural of shaykh is called shuyukh. Mashayikh are the ones who have completely transmuted all their negative qualities, attributes, and became a doctor in that field. So when during the time of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they used to go and make bay'at to Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam to listen to his words. Similarly, one method of purifying, controlling our nafs 100% is follow that particular sunnah of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where the companions used to do, go and put their hands on him and make a promise that they will follow him in every sense of the word, in every command. Instruction is for action, not for discussion, not for thinking about like ours. That's the difference between a companion and us. Companions, when Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam opened his Mubarak lips, when he said, before it's finished, they're already done. Instruction is for action. But the rest of the generations of Muslims, you tell him an ayah, he says, yeah, inshallah, mashallah, subhanallah. You tell him in a hadith that this is haram, what you're doing, he says, mashallah, subhanallah, inshallah. Falls onto deaf ears. But if the person is one of those that mashayikh, one of the mashayikh, when they speak to you, it impacts your heart so much because they speak with purity. Then it tries to transmute, tries to change you. Sometimes being in the company of such mashayikh, even one nazar, they say, one look into your heart, just look at your eyes, it changes your life. You go and make tawbah. You come back and just sitting in his company and trying to purify your inner, you learn the art. Bay'ah. It is wajib upon us to do so. The same bay'ah continued for generations after. After Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is gone, all of the ummah made bay'ah to Khulafa al-Rashidun, who were also at that level of the Murshideen. They are Mashayikh al-Kiram. After that, when the fitna started amongst the Muslims, what did the Muslims do? They looked for these ulama al-haq, the true ulama, true Mashayikh in the ummah. There are dime a dozen at that time. And they made bay'ah. They said, we follow the same tradition. We please help us to have received tarbiyah, tazkiyah, purification, and let us go through this process. Otherwise, we won't be able to do it. Theoretically possible. You just follow the rules of Sharia. That's it. Khalas. But that's the outer form. But the inner is impossible to change without help of outside. When my respected brother Luqman makes his wudu properly and wears his taqiyya properly, whatever he wears, galabiyya, sarong properly, yes, and Allahu Akbar, yes, he does his salat. But as a faqih, as a jurist, he's got a pen and paper, he's ticking the boxes. Was his takbir correct? Yes. Did he make wudu? Yes. Is he wearing clean clothing? Yes. Is he facing towards Qibla? Yes. Is he covering his awrah? Yes. Yes, he made his intention proper. Yes, salat. And did he ruku, sujood, everything fine? Tick, tick, tick. After salam, he says he does his salat. Finished. Only he judges you by the outer actions. But if this person, na'udhu billah, was praying, doing his salat so much, looking like a khushu' from outside, in order to impress one particular lady at the back, or the future father-in-law on the side. Therefore, he looks, who knows this? We don't know. What is this to do with? To do with the heart. Nafs al-Ammara can play lots of tricks. Inna Allah la yanzuru ila ajsamikum wa la ila suwarikum. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not look at your outer forms, how you do things. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala looks at the intentions, ikhlas behind them. Correct? It doesn't say that, okay, the faqih, the jurist does not say, okay, he's got 7 units of ikhlas, 3 missing. He's got no idea. Angels don't even know this, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows this. And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is teaching us, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala yuqbalu min amalihi. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not accept from his servant any of his deeds if it's not done khalisan liwajhillah, if it's not done purely for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How do we do this? That's the realm of bay'ah. That's the realm of Islamic spiritual psychology. How do you reach the level of ihsan? Worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as you see him. He sees you all the time. How do you reach the level without tasawwuf? It's impossible. The reason why Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam came, not to bring a sharia that everybody can follow, yes, that's the basic minimum. There are many dalils in the hadith of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam was at one particular expedition with his companions going to one war, and they were having a break. One Bedouin from the village came. He says, Ya Muhammad, as if he's talking to his friend. No adab, because he's a coarse man. He's a man who's got no refinement, no akhlaq. He's just a villager. All the companions will always say, Ya Rasulullah, Ya Nabi Allah, a title. But when you see any saying in the hadith literature, Ya Muhammad, that you know that person, a jahil person, ignorant person who came to learn something. He says, what are you calling people to? He sees so many people excited. He comes, he wants to join the club. He said, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam with a smile on his face, he says, I call people to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone and to accept me as the messenger of Allah. Amantu billahi wa malaikatihi wa kutubihi, the creed. He says, good. What else are you asking? He says to pray 5 times a day. The pillars of Islam. Salat, Siyam, Zakat, Hajj, yeah, and Shahadatain. Is that it? Khalas. He says, okay, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. He says, now I become a Muslim. I will not do anything more than this. Salaam alaikum. He left. Nothing else. Of course, he went and learned how to make wudu and ghusl and everything else, the basic of the operational sharia. And Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam says, if he keeps his word, sticks to his word, he will enter Jannah. So this is the basic operational level of sharia. Possible. But in this day and age, where we don't even receive these instructions in an environment where we practice fully, our inner Nafsul Ammar is absolutely dominant in us. We need to find such doctors, Murshideen al-Mukammilin al-Kamilin, so to speak, not only kamil themselves, perfect themselves, Mukammilin, they also bring you to perfection. Murshid al-Mukammilin, then you have a chance. Yes, theoretically, if you just read Quran and understand, make dhikr on your own, you can get somewhere. But Shaitan alayhi la'na will never leave you. Nafsul Ammara will never leave you. You can always tell the difference between a scholar who went through the tasawwuf training, purified his inner, he's very humble, to a sheikh who's mashallah very knowledgeable, but he's stuck with one particular disease called arrogance. He looks down upon people, he quotes hadith and ayah coming like this, right and left, but he's got this kibr inside, lack of ikhlas inside, because he's suffering from the same disease of Nafsul Ammara. He knows how to market his stuff, he knows how to speak to people, or he can impress people with his words and singing, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not look at that outer. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala looks at the inner. So this is not possible until we make bay'ah to go and submit ourselves to one of those mashayikh who's qualified and say, please fix me. If you're lucky to know anybody as such, let me know. In the Muslim world, you can find it. Very rare these days. Rare these days. But if you find, you must go and say, okay, fix me, I'm unfixable. I'm unfixable. When you are in the khidmah of a sheikh, such doctor, following every order of his, inshallah we can open the subject later on when the time comes, the methodology is different methods. You need to be like the mayyit, dead person in the hands of a washer. That's the standard, golden standard. What does that mean? When the person is washing a dead body, does the dead body have any will, any irada? And he says, okay, you missed that point over there. No, that person is dead. He cannot move. And the ghassil or the ghassal is washing any way he wants. When you make bay'ah to a qualified sheikh, an alim, a scholar, who went through himself this process and purified you, you need to adhere to everything that he says to you, without question. How do we know that he's the more qualified sheikh? If you have doubt, don't even come close to him. Don't even come close to him. But you will know, and they have about 8, 9, 10, 12 qualities that when you are in their presence, they will always make you remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They're qualified in the Sharia. They know fiqh rules. They adhere to themselves. And they know how to control the inner. Nafs al-Ammara. They are, mashallah, zahid themselves. They detach their hearts from this dunya. They do everything for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You can never buy them out. No matter how much you give them, you will never buy such person. He does not even look at the dunya. He's more worried about akhirah. He's alimul akhirah. Constantly. Imam Ghazali goes through this. And he says, our teachers, imams of our madhahib, Imam al-Shafi'i rahimahullah, Imam Abu Hanifa, Imam Malik, Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, Sufyan al-Thawri, and he goes through, he says, these people were true zuhad, true zahideen. He says, if you go at night, in the middle of the night, they will never be sleeping. They're always in ibadah. They love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when you are in their company, they have genuine concern for your well-being of the hereafter. Ulama al-kiram, when you find if it's possible, be in the company of the sheikh and do his khidmah. This particular method of teaching is called sohbah, and a companion is called what? A sahabi. That's what the method of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was. They were in the company of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, ashabus suffa. Yes? Ashabus suffa. What was happening in Suffa? The common people. They come to Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, enroll into that university of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, Masjid al-Nabawi. During the day, the numbers will swell up to 600, where they come and sit and learn. Not just taking notes, because none of them listen. They do not know how to write and read and write. But they go through the process of being in the company of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, where Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, in practical sense, corrects when they do something wrong. He says, don't sleep on your stomach. Eat with your right hand. Don't eat with your left hand, because shaitan eats and drinks with his left hand. Yes? He says, don't sit under half shade, half the sun. Don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. And do this, do this, do this. Being in the company, they're learning. The method of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was through this sohbah method. Not academic. Not, okay, I'll give you some books, go and read. Listen to some lectures on the YouTube and come back and follow me. It never worked that way. Ulama al-kiram, radwanullahi ta'ala alayhim ajma'een, they always follow this particular method. If there is a distance, you're not in the company of the sheikh, you're not lucky enough. In the olden days, they used to correspond with the sheikh. There are methods of correspondence. Some of are unseen, spiritual. Some of them actually maktubat. Maktubat al-Rabbani. Imam Rabbani, Ahmad Farooq al-Sirhindi, Qaddasallahu Sirrahu al-Aziz, he's got his famous book, thick collection of letters to send to his students, fixing one problem at a time. Fixing one particular negative trait at a time. I was looking at my, in our library, one brother picked it up. He says, Maktubat al-Manari. Another one, Sheikh al-Manari was in the Chishtiya order, where he wrote this book 700 years ago. He writes letters to his student Shamsuddin. He says, do this, do this, do this, do this. Instruction for action. And through that process, Tazkiyah also takes place. Maybe longer. But you need to be in the company. You need to be going into khalwa. If he gives you instructions, what does that mean? In the last 10 days of Ramadan, what do we do? I'tikaf. But if the Shaykh puts you into a training of chilla, puts you into training of 40 days off, just pure worship, under his watchful eyes, without you contacting anybody. He gives you the medicines. Use this one, let's see what happens. What happens? Use this one, eventually he gets results. I was diagnosed with cellulitis 10 years ago on my right calf muscle. It's the most painful thing. And I was diabetic. They tried maybe 20 different antibiotics. Eventually one of them worked. But in the process, I was screaming and shouting and crying. So painful. Similarly, once you are under the training of the Murshid al-Mukammil, He gives you certain medicines. Let's see, try this one, try this one, try this one. Eventually, you get there. Ibrahim bin Adham. قدس الله سره العزيز. This is the term that we normally use after the name of a great sheikh of that caliber. He was the king of Balkh. He was a king, sultan. After certain incidences, he left his kingdom, completely disappeared one night. And he became a student of one of those sheikhs. He made bay'ah. But they will not accept him. The sheikh will not accept him into his order. He says, yes, you can come and stay with us, but, give yourself some time. What do I have to do? Everybody's attending classes, everything else. He says, no. You can attend to 1, 2, 3 classes, but the rest of the time your job is to clean the dirty clothes, wash the dirty clothes, wash the dishes of all these students, 60, 70 of them. Subhanallah, from being a sultan, Trump, he's going to work as a cleaner, a laundryman. In the olden days, they didn't have laundry machines. They had to wash everything by the hand and a little bit of soap, sabun. Where? In the river. 7 years he washes. 7 years. One day the sheikh turns around and says to one of his main students, he says, you see that big stick? Pick it up. Sneak behind him, walk slowly. He doesn't realize. He's washing clothes of all the dirty washing, the washing of the other students. And he's bending towards the water. Sneak behind him. He says, give it a whack into his feet. See what happens. The sheikh says, hit him. I'm going to hit him. So he comes, gives it to him. He's watching him, what the reaction is going to be. Ibrahim bin Adham turns around slowly, looks at him. He said, do you think I'm going to remember my old days? That I'm going to call, get angry, call my guards and behead you? The student comes back. Sheikh says, what did he say? He said, do you think I'm going to remember my not good old days, my old days being Sultan, Trump days? Yes? And I'm going to behead you, call the guards on you? The Sheikh shook his head. He says, he still remembers. Let him continue. Continue. But after a certain time, Ibrahim bin Adham became one of the most famous mashayikh. Famous. Completely went through the process. People will kick him out from their shops because he used to look so old. They didn't know that he was a sultan, Ibrahim bin Adham. But time, when you go through this process, you need to take the love of this dunya from your heart. Completely. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted him to change, make tawbah and come back to the path. One day he's sleeping in his royal chamber. What does he do? How does a royal chamber look like? Have you been to Buckingham Palace? No? How does a king in the movies, 1001 Nights, sometimes we watch, atlas sheets, silk, red color, guards outside, huge bed, In the middle of the night, while he's sleeping, he hears some voices, sounds, coming from where? Somebody doing some racketing, something's happening. He says, where is this coming from? He wakes up. It's coming from the roof of the palace. He goes outside the balcony, he says, hey, what's happening over there? A voice responds to him. Oh, don't worry about it, go back to sleep. He says, what are you doing on top of the roof of my palace? He says, I lost my camels, I'm looking for them. He says, what? You lost your camels on top of my roof, which is not a flat, but it is and looking for him on top of my roof. He says, "You lost your mind? What would camels do on top of the roof? And why would you look for camels on top of the roof?" And the person responds. He says, "I think you are the one who's lost his mind. How do you expect to find Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala between silk atlas sheets of bed? How do you expect to find? You keep on talking that I want to find Allah, I want to purify my nafs. You are thick into the worldliness, hubb dunya, and you want to be what? A wali of Allah? How?" I said, "Who are you? What are you?" The voice gone and recording finished. He began to think, what's happening? One day again, he's sitting on his throne. One of the guards came, says, "Your Excellency, Your Highness, there is a man outside. They call him Darwish, one of the simple Sufi, so to speak. He said he wants to stay here for tonight in the palace." He said, "What? This is my palace. You don't go to Trump's White House and say, I'm going to put up for the night tonight. I got my sleeping bag." He said, "That's him." "What?" Because he said, "Darwish," he says, "Bring him over here. These people have something I want to know." He comes with an attitude. He said, "Is it true that you said that you want to stay in my palace for the night?" "Yeah," he says, "I want to stay in this caravanserai." In other words, motel. He said, "What motel? You lost your mind?" He said, "This is my palace. If it's your palace, who owned it before you?" He says, "My father. He was also Sultan." "Where's your father now?" "He's gone." "Who owned it before him?" "My grandfather." "Where is he now?" "He's also gone." "Before him?" "Great grandfather." He says, "Where are they now?" "This is like a motel. You stay overnight and leave. This dunya is similar. You're going to stay here overnight and you're going to leave one day." "Salaam alaikum," he said, left without staying. So after these events, there were quite a few, many, he left his kingdom completely and became, at the hands of a sheikh, he made bay'ah and began to go through that big change, purifying the inner. In the Western psychological theories, they usually think of enlightenment is a function of higher intelligence. So if the person is intelligent, smart, they go through some training and they become refined. But paradoxically in Islam, the first step of that journey of purification starts with the lower self, Nafsul Ammara. Without purifying your Nafsul Ammara, it is impossible for you to make any progress. And the difference between the Western psychology and Islamic spiritual psychology, Tasawwuf, is that so-called the practitioners of these people, the ones who teach them, they're all academics. They're suffering from Nafsul Ammara in the first place. But the doctors, the teachers of Nafsul Ammara, of the lower self, are the people who have already released themselves from the shackles of Nafsul Ammara. That's one of the differences. Did we go through this again at all? This requires lots of attention. I don't know whether I should go through it or not. If we were to pictorically illustrate the 7 levels of nafs, nafsul ammara, nafsul lawama, nafsul mulhima, mutma'inna, radiya, mardiya, and safiya, it would be like this. The thick black lines, solids, around a circle, is our middle unconsciousness. Awareness is that little circle right in the center. Remember we said Nafsul Ammara operates under our subconscious. We don't realize. We're not aware of Nafsul Ammara, smooth operator. Yes? From Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to ruh, some ilham, inspirations come every now and then. Because we are created with fatra. Yes? That green star coming down. Sometimes intense. We feel, religious. Sometimes we see the right thing to do. Sometimes. But the majority of the time, this comes from our lower self, lower unconscious nafsul ammara level. These are the red inspirations. These are clues, instructions to do haram. Haram, haram, haram. Disobey, disobey, disobey. And we don't know where this desire comes from. We just feel like it. 3 o'clock in the morning, the wife says, I want Sara Lee ice cream, French vanilla. Where am I going to get it from? Coles is closed. Oh, I heard that there's Coles in Springvale. It's open 24 hours. Go and get it for me. Ya Latif. If you don't, she's going to give you hell. So you get into your car at 3 o'clock in the morning, travel all the way from Faulkner to Springvale, and you buy the ice cream and come back for her to eat. Where does these desires come from? All nafsul ammara. Oh, you think that it's a normal thing. You laugh at it sometimes, but that's not it. This is the state of the nafs. What the Western psychology does is that higher unconscious state that they want to awaken, which they will never be able to. It's only the whims and wishes of shaitan. They feel more psychological, more spiritual. What happens at the nafs al-lawama level? This is the nafs of a Muslim. Still, our field of awareness is very little. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam says human beings are asleep. They will wake up when they die. The reality hits you. You wake up. Oh no, it is the reality. But there is a way of waking you up through Islam before you die. Through tasawwuf. So what happens? Nafsul lawama, the ever constantly blaming self of a Muslim nafs, nafsul lawama, constantly receives from those negative impulses from nafsul ammara, the red ones, but also every now and then does the right things. Salat time, sometimes he feels very spiritual. But 2 days ago, he was in deep, thick of haram. But today he feels guilty and he wants to do salat and he feels good. Yeah? It's a zigzag. Constantly. He's not in control of anything. Awareness is exactly the same thing. Still not aware of the reality. Now, at the next level, mulhima, when you begin to receive some inspirations, your circle of awareness increases. You begin to realize certain things. In other words, at this stage, you have already completely taken control of your nafsul ammara, and you have got rid of all the negative qualities of nafsul ammara, but you're still suffering from other 14, 15 diseases of nafsul ammara at a higher, more sophisticated level, and you're trying to get rid of it. But still, nafsul ammara sends impulses and you fall for it. You fall into haram. And sometimes you also feel that, become aware of when that ilham, that inspiration, spiritual inspiration comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you also feel that. You enjoy the halaqah of dhikr. You enjoy halaqah of knowledge. When you read Quran, you really enjoy. Beautiful. Your heart feels, solace. But you also watch Adam Smith movies. Adam Smith never had any movies. But, tonight I'm going to watch this series. You do that, shaitan, and at the same time this one. So it is, you're getting, and if you do something wrong, you feel guilty. That's where the inspiration, your awareness becomes. Nafs al-ammara never feels guilty. Never feels guilty. And you become aware more. Mutma'inna is the minimum. Ya ayyatuha nafsul mutma'inna. This is the fourth level. This is where you become a wali of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Minimum. Basic. Foundation. You're a soldier. Your heart's completely changed, transmuted from your negative traits, which we'll go through. Then you begin to enjoy more ilham. Your dreams are not dirty. Your dreams are not about dunya. Your dreams about Kaaba. Your dreams about seeing Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in your dream. In your dreams, you do this, you do this, you do this. You feel there is no such thing as missing salat. You actually look for salat. Dhikr, you constantly enjoy this. And you want to stand in tahajjud all night because you cannot control your tears. You're feeling so strongly, your awareness is so great. But every now and then, Nafs al-ammara is still not dead because you can never kill Nafs al-ammara. It gives you impulses. You might every now and then do minor sins, not the major sins. Until here, you are at the hands of a Murshid al-Mukammil. You will be guided through. Until number 3, other traditions, other disciplines, Hindus, they call it nirvana. The one before, this one here. They can take you to this level through some riyadat, fasting, spiritual exercises. You can come to here, but you are still a stooge of shaitan alayhi la'na. Shaitan has access to this level. Shaitan has access to this level. And some people, gurus, they do some spiritual, what's the word? Karama, not karama, istidraj. They walk on water. They walk on fire. They eat nails. Nothing happens to them. They poke things into themselves. No blood comes out. They bend the laws of nature. Yes? This is possible. Even without Islam. But in here, shaitan has full control over you. Only through mutma'inna, the Shaykh takes you from this wilderness and gives you, increases your field of awareness, that you become more receptive to the impulses from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, from your ruh, and you are more resistant towards the impulses of nafsul ammara. Your field of awareness increased. And you getting direct light from ruh, inshallah ta'ala. What happens when you go above? Look at the middle consciousness, completely increased. You're awakened. You see more than what others can see. You see the dhikr of things that you never thought possible. You see, you hear, you accept rida bil qadar. You never question qadar. You have full yaqeen in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Your ibadah is established. Your dhikr is established. You understand the purpose of creation. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives you ilm, knowledge that the others cannot see. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives you ability just as a gift. Not that you automatically qualify for it. See what this person is thinking, what that person is thinking, that person's heart, that person's heart. They are with you. They are with you. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives them. Karama happens like anything. But these are the areas that is not open to discussion for the awam, common people. This is a higher reality. When you are in mardiyya, ruh and nafs join together. In other words, nafs is no longer domineering of any kind. Remember I said at the beginning, nafs is female and ruh is male. You become unisex. One single, you become male. That is why in tasawwuf, when a woman becomes wali of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, she is no longer referred to as women. She is referred to as men. Rijalullah, they call it. Not Nisa'ullah. Rabi'a al-Adawiyya, you heard? She was referred to as men. Rajul. Rajul means somebody who can, literally man. Rajul means somebody who can seriously and realistically can stand on his 2 feet. Is in control. Many women are more prone to this because their emotional states are more stronger. They cannot control Nafs al-Ammara quite easily. Nafs may be disciplined, the man maybe can control, but it takes longer for men to reach their destination. But for women, when they become serious, women can achieve it in 40 days. Men achieves the same objective, same wusla, same destination in 40 years. When they become serious with this tazkiyah process, subhanallah, they fly through. Nafs, with the men, subhanallah, it takes long time. Am I talking in a language that you don't understand? When you are in the level of Safiya, that is, your nafs is like Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, there is no such thing as nafs. There's only Allah. Everything you see Allah. You're at that level of ihsan, where your heart, your every dharra, every atom of your body is constantly making dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, being one with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is impossible, inconceivable for a Nabi of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to commit a sin. Impossible. Sin means an act of defiance, correct? Against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's impossible. Allah protects them. Allah looks after them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala constantly watches over them. In the majazi sense, symbolic sense, the normal human beings, good Muslims, can also reach to this level, but not in the haqiqah sense. In reality, this is the reality, this is the nafs, level of nafs of the Anbiya alayhimus salam. Actually, this was today's lesson. I was going to go through this with you, but I went through the other divergent ends. Digressed. Forgive me. Unless you rid yourself of these 12 diseases, it is impossible to go to the second level, which is also a despicable state. And can you see any of these? You understand these words, these Islamic terminologies. Everybody understand what kufr is, yes? What does kufr mean? Young man? Yes. We were discussing 2 weeks ago in the madrasa. Kafara, to cover. Kafir is the coverer, literally. Kafir is at the same time a title given to the farmer in Islam. A farmer is called kafir, but not in the sense that we understand. What does a farmer do? He puts the seeds in the soil and covers it up, hides the seeds. When the truth is hidden, deliberately, willfully, knowingly, the ultimate truth is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you begin to cover it up, don't speak the truth, you are acting in a manner similar to a farmer covering the truth or covering your eyes, not seeing the sun. You become a kafir. Kafara means to cover up. Wrong education, ignorance, arrogance, many other nature and nurture and hidayah from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you can find yourself in this environment. But The real reason for kufr is kibr. You don't accept it, therefore you ignore it, you reject it. The truth. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Quran is Quran. Yes? His illustrious life is in front of us. And in front of who? Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anh. A soul. Same with Abu Jahil. He was his also close friend. They grew up together. One decided to become Abu Jahil. The other one decided to become, yes, Abu Jahil is a kafir. And Abu Bakr Siddiq is the first one to enter Jannah with Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. The same opportunity. But because of the arrogance of Abu Jahil, arrogance, kibr, yes, he stayed as Abu Jahil. His name was initially what? Abul Hakam, father of wisdom. Muslims derogatorily, what do you call, ironically changed his name to Abu Jahl, father of ignorance. Ignorant. Whatever your nature is, Shaitan alayhi la'na knows Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He became arrogant, disobeyed Allah, and therefore Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accursed him. These red dotted ones, the shirk is when you associate with Allah other beings to be worshipped. This is a common trait amongst the human beings. Christians are mushrikeen. They commit shirk. They say Isa alayhi salam is son of God. Na'udhu billah. Jesus is mother of God. Na'udhu billah. These are associations. Isa alayhi salam or Maryam alayhi salam is completely absolved from this particular claim. They never said this. Human beings made this. Same thing with Quraysh. Quraysh they didn't used to know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in many of the surahs of the Quran. He says, if you ask them, who brings the rain? They say, Allah. Who creates the weather? Allah. Who does this? Gives you rizq? Allah. But why do you worship a handmade idol? They said, oh, he helps them. Or, helps who? Allah. Na'udhu billah, this association, this is shirk. These are two unforgivable sins. The difference between a Muslim, bad Muslim, and a kafir, non-believer, is these two dots, red dots. Kafir has these qualities, all the 12 of them. But a Muslim hasn't got kufr, he hasn't got shirk, but he has the rest. He has the rest. And the first disease of a Muslim, and most prevalent in our time, and this is what all the teachers, all the mashayikh, everybody who comes here to give you talk on Islam, they want to get rid of the third one. They're fighting with the third one in you. What is ghafla? Ghafil. What is ghafil? In Bahasa, you don't have ghafil? Ghafla? Ghaflat, sometimes they call. We have Tanbihul Ghafilin, the book, translated into Bahasa. Yes? Tanbihul Ghafilin, admonition to the Ghafilin. Ghafilin is a plural of the word. Who's practicing this? Forgetfulness, that's the literal meaning of Ghafil. When you are caught unexpectedly, heedlessness, unawareness, yes? Being unaware. Ghafil person is a person. What is the word? Lalai. Okay, lalai. So I am lalai all the time. All the time I am lalai. When you get caught unexpectedly for something, you say you are caught in a state of lalai. If the enemy attacks you while you're sleeping at night, you're supposed to be all ready. You are caught in a state of lalai. But what is it in the Islamic sense of the word? What is the technical meaning in our parlance? Ghafla. Let's have a look. is a deliberate, defined act of forgetting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, forgetting our origins, where we came from, where we're going, deliberately forgetting, wantingly forgetting why we are here for, what's our function, what is our duties, deliberately, and being indifferent to the Sharia, being indifferent to Bashiran wa Nadhira Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We read, we hear, in, what was it again, Lalai? In a Lalai land. Yes, in a Lalai land. Ghafla is unfortunately the greatest disease amongst the Muslims. I will explain this inshallah. And I'm looking at time. I was giving until 10 o'clock. Everybody hungry? Is there food in the first place? Okay. Maybe I should stop here. But let me give you one ayah, inshallah, we'll come back. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions these people, heedless, a kafir, mushrik, and a fasiq Muslim, fajr Muslim, who's under the clutches of Nafs al-Ammara, is in a perpetual state of ghafla. This is our greatest disease. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, He defines a Muslim. Look at this. وَاذْكُرْ رَبَّكَ. What is our function? Completely in awareness, constant awareness of that feeling that you are in the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How do you achieve this? Through tadhkirah. And you achieve dhikr in your heart. You are, remember that circle with Allah written in it? The whole existence? That's what you're supposed to be. Fi nafsika. Within your inner heart, in your heart. Tadarru'an. With humility. Know who you are. You are nothing. You started as little sperm and egg, sticky substance. Your beginning and your end is 1 kilo of rotten carcass in the grave, qubur. In between is a lala land, lalai land. Yes? Whatever you do, ramifications for the hereafter. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, remember your Lord within yourself with humility and with fear. وَخِيفَةً وَدُونَ الْجَهْرِ مِنَ الْقَوْلِ. Without screaming and shouting, oh Allah, oh Allah, you're not talking to, what do you call? Mute and the deaf person. Allah hears. In a dark room, no windows, no light, on a dark carpet, on a dark stone, a dark, completely black ant. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can hear the footsteps of that ant. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows the heartbeat, and He can hear the heartbeat of that ant. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows what the needs and wants and desires of that little ant. Allah doesn't know what is in the heart of the best of His creation, that is human being. Does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala needs to be shouted at? No. When your head is down, when your hands are up, when your heart speaks to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He hears every single word. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, make dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala within yourselves, with humility, with fear, وَدُونَ الْجَهْرِ مِنَ الْقَوْلِ, without shouting, screaming, بِالْغُدُوِّ وَالْأَصَالِ, morning and evening. This is symbolic, saying that 24 hours. وَلَا تَكُنْ مِنَ الْغَافِلِينَ. If you don't do those things, your default state is what? you're amongst the lalai. You're ghafil. You deliberately ignore Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You're created for a purpose. وَعْبُدْ رَبَّكَ حَتَّى يَأْتِيَكَ الْيَقِينَ. You're supposed to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala until death comes to you. That's your function. وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. He has not created mankind or jinnkind except to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You are here for a very short period of time. Only small period. And if you're not switched on, if you don't understand the purpose of your creation, if you don't follow, if you don't fulfill your function, responsibility, you are in a state of ghafla. And unfortunately, Muslims of today, outwardly they are Muslims, inwardly they are ghafil, because this is the inner disease, not outer disease. If you open up a shop and making good money, mashallah, if somebody wants to come and open the same shop next door to you, what will you do? You will try everything in your hands to get rid of this man, to cause trouble to him, and make sure you even take him to court. Call the police, because you don't want to lose your income. But if you says, don't worry, inshallah, mashallah, subhanallah, the guy comes and takes over your business, his chips are better than yours, he puts chili on it, more spicy, and people go to him, and you lost your fish and chip shop. You were in a state of what? Ghafla regarding this dunya. But a Muslim, when he's ghafil in the heart, when he's heedless, lalai in the heart, then he's going downwards. They say, Nafs, when the Nafs is drifting purposefully, without any destination, on the river, it's going. Follow follow the flow. Go with the flow. Where are you going? I don't know. I enjoy the scenery, and I enjoy the weather. But this is going to a canyon. It's going to go down. Yeah, inshallah, mashallah, subhanallah. Yeah, but I enjoy. Do nothing about it. If something happens to you at the end, when the river turns and you go into big fall and die, whose fault is it? Your own fault. Inshallah, we'll come back next time. We'll start on the third disease of Nafs al-Ammara, that is ghafla. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala awaken us from a slumber of ghafla. Slumber of ghafla. We become zombies. We, completely numb to the reality of akhirah. Inshallah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala awaken us before we die, and allow us to make tawbah and come back to our senses. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make our last moments in life as the best moments in our lives, where His rida is upon us, where the husn tawajjuh of our Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is upon us, where inshallah ta'ala He is pleased with us. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdik. Nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta wahdaka la sharika lak. Nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Lillahi ta'ala al-Fatiha.
Jazakallah, Syekh Mahmud, with the lecture that's hopefully by the mercy of Allah will gain awakening our awareness of the nafs and also other threats of evil, and prepare ourselves for the hereafter. Inshallah. Maybe I'll just open a couple of questions to discuss. We still have a little bit of time, so.
Good.
If anyone wants to have any discussion, yeah, please, tafadol. Pak Lugas.
Please don't ask me difficult questions. Just make it easy.
Assalamualaikum, Sheikh. I just want to have a little bit of clarity regarding the role of shaitan. You mentioned that Nafsul Ammara is actually part of the identity of our ruh, that suggests us to do bad things, and shaitan is also suggesting us to do bad things. So how do they work? Thank you. Jazakallah.
They both work in a similar fashion with a huge difference. We understand the term waswasa? Whisperings, constant suggestions. Nafsul Ammara is not very intelligent. I am seeing you first time here. Correct? Am I wrong? Okay. Maybe that time when we talked about how Nafs operates. How do you tell the difference between how shaitan whispers and how Nafs whispers? Our Mashaykh tell us, Nafs is like a child. When any of the children, when they want something, look, she's having Nutella. When she wants Nutella, she will constantly beg and cry. She'll never give up until she gets Nutella. Nutella, 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 Mom, Nutella, Mom, Nutella. Okay, I'm going to give it to you 10 minutes. Nutella, Mom, Nutella, Mom, Nutella, Mom, Nutella, Mom. Shaitan alayhi la'na is an external entity, sworn enemy. Inna shaitana lakum adu, fattakhiduhu aduwa. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, in shaitan there is animosity, hatred towards you beyond measure, and therefore take him as your public and private enemy number one, sworn enemy, because he blames us for his demise. And all his children, they live until Qiyamah. There is no death for them. They are immortal. And they are assigned to us from the age of puberty onwards. They constantly suggest to us. But Shaitan alayhi la'na is very predictable. His scheming is very predictable and very easy to combat. You need to understand how he works. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala refers to scheming of women against men, He says, Inna kaydahunna azim. This is completely outside this majlis. When the woman is in that, she's going to get you, she'll get you. No way of escaping. She'll find a way of getting to you. But referring to the shaitan's schemings, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, da'if, very predictable and very easy. Shaitan will work, second source after nafs. Shaitan is the second source of evil, our greatest enemy. Shaitan will work on a very predictable pattern. First, he will direct. You say to you, don't do it. Or do this haram. Don't do this fard. If he cannot convince you, the first whispering did not go through, he will change his technique. He will say to you, okay, if you want to do it later. Tasweef it is called. He'll buy time. And if you show some resistance to him, he will say, do it quickly, quickly, quickly. If you resist, no, I'm not going to do it quickly. Like your salat, you want to do it not fast. You want to do it properly. And then he will try to act the other way around. He will say to you, now you do it not in the masjid, at home, because you do it with khushu'. People might misunderstand you. People might think that you are showing off. He's trying to stop you from getting 25 times. He's like a, what do you call? Used car salesman. Any resistance from the customer, says, how about this one? And how about this one? Yes? Eventually, he will do, if there is two khair things that you have to do, he will make sure, he'll try his last attempt. to make you to choose the lesser good one, the one that gives you the less returns, less reward. One is difficult, more hasana. There is fard you have to do. He says, okay, do the sunnah, good for you. He'll make you do the sunnah, but how about the fard? He says, inshallah, inshallah, mashallah. Shaitan works on jahala level. Shaitan constantly, what do you call, suggests, but shaitan has no power whatsoever to make you do anything. But he's got his highness, his cleverness, Nafs al-Ammara, his teenage partner, who will do things before thinking. And like the baby, when the desire of something that comes either through shaitan and Nafs likes it, he will say, I want it, I want it, I want it, until he gets it, he will never rest. Or if it's from shaitan, the whispering is changeable, constantly, predictable. Nonetheless, we are subjected to these two enemies, and when they are coupled with jahala, ignorance, we are lost completely. Completely. So shaitan is a different entity, but Nafsul Ammara is developed in this earth. We did not come from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as nafs. We came as ruh and fitra. From that non-material existence, when we meshed into this material body, we developed appetites. These are the shahawat. That is to do with this material world. We discovered taste. What is the taste? Ruhs don't eat. Yeah, in the spiritual world. We discovered more things, and we deliberately forget through the process of ghafla our origins, and therefore we can try to satisfy new discovered wants and needs. The 5 levels of shahwat al-batan, shahwat al-farj, the hubbu jah, love of materialism, the accumulation of wealth, love of what you call recognition, and love of leadership. Very predictable. But from an outside, everybody looks the same. Inside is where the challenge is. Journey to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not a physical journey that you walk. Journey within the heart to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Tazkiyah is within the heart. Otherwise, you don't go and get a detox of your heart. Impossible. You'll die. That's your physical heart. Shaitan alayhi la'na wa kana min al-jinn. Invisible enemy. Everybody has one. They ask Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Ya Rasulullah, do you also have a shaitan? He says, yes, I have. That's the law of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But you have a shaitan, what does he do? He uses 3 different words in different hadith. Meaning, first meaning, he has completely submitted. In other words, I've subdued him. He's got nothing at all. He cannot say anything. He can't mute. He can't talk. And second is that he is so weak. He's so weak that he says he gives up on me. He gave up on me. Gave up on me. Third, he says he's so angry, so upset. He's telling me to do the right thing. He says, I couldn't help with you. Might as well do it. Might as well do it. There is nothing you can do. Yeah, shaitan. But us, everybody, besides the Anbiya alayhimus salam, we all have shaitan. Those red impulses, remember those stars? We constantly get them. Comes from either nafs or shaitan alayhi la'na. That when we see something, we want something, our desire, what is the word? Temptation. It's all from either from shaitan or from nafs al-ammara. We're on the right track? Inshallah.
Maybe one more question if anyone has any questions. Okay, all right. If not, then thank you, sir. Maybe we conclude our today's lecture with that, and inshallah, we pray that we keep istiqamah in this journey to come back to meet our Creator Allah. And inshallah, we will have a break for those who came late for 2 weeks, and we'll come back in early January. Inshallah, we will let you know in the WhatsApp group. We close with doa kafaratul majlis. Subhanaka wa bihamdika. Asyhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.